Hey, listen, I will always be the villain.
That's
All
true.
right, everybody. Chase sucks. Welcome to Making the Merge.
PD, do we have an ad read he can do real quick off the top of this? Oh, we don't.
Hey
Okay,
guys,
No,
fine.
this
unfortunately, we don't.
podcast. Sorry, go ahead.
So, look, it was important for us to have Chase here, even if he sucks, because there was a very exciting development over on our TikTok
It's a big
where
week.
it was a huge week. I've
Yeah.
been riding this high ever since it happened. Since it was your player, would you like to tell us what happened, Chase?
Yeah, I would love to. So basically what had happened was we all know that we lost Saul in Survivor the other week. And after that happened, I posted a video on our TikTok where I screamed at the top of my lungs and and essentially crashed out. Because and that was genuine emotion because I really felt like I had lost this whole season when Saul left. Now, a few days after that, we talk about Saul's first jury appearance where he walks in wearing a very sexy vest.
And
You
pretty much
guys,
nothing else.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys talk about it in the pod that week about how sexy his vest is. And who comments on that video but stupid sexy Saul himself? The question that was posed in the clip that we posted on TikTok was, I think Kristen asked, is he wearing some sort of body oil? Or is
Yeah.
that just the rain? And Saul comments, no oil, 100% fresh organic Fijian rain.
What a
Yeah.
response, too. That's
Which we immediately, I think one of the things I said to you guys was, is it strange that we've come this far that we can ask such an off the wall question like, is Saul wearing body oil? And we get a response where it's like, no, I'm not. It's actually just the rain in Fiji. We like the fact that we even know that.
Yeah, that is wild. What's even better is the interactions don't stop there.
Right.
Because I respond to that comment with a video where I again scream at the top of my lungs. And he comments on that one going, bro, I'm dying. Then he follows us, goes back to a different post that we had posted like a couple weeks ago and says, hey, I need a hat yesterday. So now
Dang.
what I'm saying is we have a new number one fan. And
That's
it's
right.
Saul.
He not only did that, but he followed us on Instagram, guys.
Yeah.
He left TikTok, opened a different app, and followed us on Instagram. Like he is a committed follower of the pod.
And we got another comment from a former Survivor contestant.
We sure did. We sure did. I can't remember who it is right now, but you
it
better
was
say
your
it.
player, Jonathan. It was Ben
Was it?
Katzman.
Oh, it was Ben. That's right, dude. That was crazy. I forgot about that. He commented, and I was floored because you sent
Yeah.
a screenshot of it into the chat, and or you said Ben commented, and I went over and saw it. So I can't get my story straight. It threw me off. Is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
But I was the one who discovered that initial Saul comment, and he didn't have a profile picture, so I didn't even read the name. I just saw like no oil, 100% fresh Fijian rain, and I was like, why does this person sound so confident? And then I was like, oh
Now-
wait, it's Saul himself.
Well,
Yeah,
enough bragging about how we're best friends with Saul, who is
Yeah.
my favorite Survivor player of the last 10 years.
And I will say he is one of the players this season that we've all consistently agreed with, even though he's not drafted by the rest of us. We've all consistently said we like him
Oh, yeah,
and that
for
he's
sure.
a great player, and we were sad to see him go. So
Yeah.
we've bonded over Saul.
Yeah,
Let's,
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, you want to actually talk about the show now? But
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that that I was gonna say that I was telling somebody else, like I think it kind of makes sense that he would find us and connect with us because every single thing we posted was just us glazing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
He's the
And-
best, dude.
Either that or it was us talking about the Costco guys like last week. You missed that.
Yeah.
You missed that, Chase. We talked about Costco guys a little bit too much, and then someone left a review giving us like 5 booms.
5 booms, dude. Yeah, I saw that.
So it was not for nothing, PD. So whatever we talk about is important here, even if it's glazing salt. So
Yeah, I agree.
PD, why don't you take the reins and start leading us into this week's episode of Survivor?
All right, this week on Survivor, Saul left a comment on art. I'm just kidding. Okay, so this is what I want to highlight to start, and I don't think we've talked about one of these before now, but during the previously on segment, we got Caroline at the voting booth, and she says, "You're a threat to my game," while writing Gabe's name down. And this is 2 weeks in a row that they've revealed a voting confessional that they didn't show us in the previously on segment. And I think, is that just something that they want to do now to make the previously on feel more important?
I would expect that's the reasoning, yeah.
it definitely has made me think more about the whole like, hey, maybe I should pay attention to what's being discussed in the previously on, because other times it would be on and I'm like, fixing coffee or something like that, and then walking back in when it's over. So I don't know. I definitely think I'm thinking about it more.
But they did tease Sue's idol, which did not come into play at all.
I noticed
what
that
was
too,
with
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep showing. Well, they showed in this episode who all had idols, and right up top, I texted Chase and Kristen was with me. We basically all were saying that makes me nervous about what's going to happen this episode, because why are they reminding us of all of these idols that are floating out there?
I think looking like now that I've seen the episode and I know that it doesn't come to play, I think maybe what they were trying to do is be like, "Hey, Sue's still doing stuff. She's not just
maybe so.
She's not just this.
She's not just a
crazy
dirty
old
face.
lady. Yeah, she's not just contouring makeup with mud.
That was Carolyn's theory. I did see that Carolyn was like, "Yeah, I think she's using it for makeup."
Yeah, dude, it's like that weird time where Ariana Grande was just like painting herself orange.
That was a great era for her music.
Oh my goodness, dude!
And then,
the contouring with mud is, I think, an interesting theory. But continue.
Yeah, so my thought process is I think they just wanted to remind us, because we haven't this whole season, no one has wanted to use the advantages. No one has wanted to really use idols, and if they do, they use them the second they get them. I think they wanted to they gave up their shot in the darks. Like none of these players care about advantages at all. And so I think they just wanted to kind of remind people like, "Hey, we do have some advantages in play."
Well, I think it also comes from last season. So many people going home with advantages in their pocket, people going home with idols in their pocket, like 5 of them in a row.
Yeah,
people are really, really.
It's like a
they're
death
really
sentence.
Jumpy. Yeah, they've overcorrected, is what it feels like.
Yeah,
or they've corrected. Because right now we haven't seen an idol played well yet, so we'll see.
Or maybe it's like it was a red herring, and then like we'll be thinking about it this week, but then next week Sue or Rachel actually uses their idol.
That's a good.
I have a feeling whenever Rachel uses her idol, that she'll be right. I think that she will make the right decision because she's so careful about it.
Yeah.
That whenever she actually uses it, I think it'll get her out of going home, and that someone else will go home as a result.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome for me.
You know what? I'm going to throw out a prediction, and it could go up in flames, but I think that Andy is going to, I mean, this is based off nothing, but I think that Andy is going to go after Rachel. She's going to clock it. She's going to use the idol and send Andy home, which I would hate to have that happen. But
that would be baller. That would
be a great move. Which can I bring up something I'm noticing even in our comments, which is Andy's gaining a lot of support from people that I wasn't anticipating. Like we used to be roasting Andy all the time,
not me.
But now it's starting to feel like if we roast Andy, that people are upset about it. They're not happy with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's 50-50 where some people are like, he's a mastermind, and then the other 50% are like, he's an idiot and he hasn't actually done anything, and get him off of my TV.
At one point, he was talking numbers in this episode. He was like, "There's a 0.6% chance," and it felt like the other players were annoyed by that again. And I thought, I need more of that Andy energy back so that he goes home. That's what I need.
Yeah.
So if he could talk numbers a little bit more, I'd be fine.
Let's get back to Dirty Face Sue. And
Dude, what a playground insult name that is.
Dirty Face Sue. Sorry, I can't call her that. She's
Isn't
my
that
player.
a Johnny Cash song? No.
Yeah.
She's one of two players you have left in the game.
So I don't need to disrespect her.
Numbers boy and Dirty Face Sue.
My glistening queen Sue. Let's talk about her. Okay.
My contoured queen.
It was the first important thing in this episode was Caroline pulling Sue to talk, and then Caroline explained why she couldn't just play Gabe's game, and Sue took it really well, actually. She kept a level head about the whole thing, and for someone who's seen as such an emotional player, I was really impressed that Sue didn't just blow up.
Yeah, well, like I'm like, Sue, you've held a grudge against Kyle for writing your name down since what day 3 or something.
Yeah.
It was like early, and then Caroline completely betrays her and lies to her. It keeps a secret and leaves her out of the vote, and then goes to her and is like, I had to, I'm sorry, Sue. And Sue's like, that really made me like Caroline more. And I'm like, no, Sue, like, no, you've been like, Kyle has been nothing but a sweetie this whole season, and you're over here just like, I want Kyle dead. It's like so terrible.
Her hatred, I didn't have a distaste for Sue until she started really hating Kyle, because she doesn't have a good reason. She was like, he wrote my name down, and then like when she was trying, this wasn't in this episode, but when she was like trying to explain how much she hates Kyle, she's like, and he's such a family guy, and he's always talking about his family, like,
and
what a loser.
He loves his kids.
He doesn't have money.
He was an orphan. Oh God, I hate this guy. Let me go put some more mud on my face.
You're like, foster child? What a tryhard,
Yeah, she's like, why didn't you go to flight school, you orphan?
Get contoured, son.
Yeah, don't let Sue meet Annie from the musical Annie.
I don't even know. I don't want to know what Sue would say to
She's
Annie.
like, my favorite series of books is a series of unfortunate events, because all that terrible stuff just keeps happening to the orphans the whole time, and it's fantastic.
She's like, man, I hate how they did Jim Carrey, the hero, dirty in that film.
She's like, Count Olaf is the best main character of all time.
And she likes Count Olaf so much because he, just like her, is also a master of disguise, as we learned from her red paint incident.
This was her Count Olaf moment. Was like,
And disguising her age.
yeah,
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Dude, man, what a great comparison between Sue and Count Olaf.
Man, whoever came up with that's a genius. Anyway, let's keep going.
So, what we got next was our second sob story of the season, and that is that Caroline has ADHD. And while I do sympathize, I think that everyone on this podcast has ADHD.
Yeah.
I texted Chase right away, and I was like, yeah, you've got Teeny being like, I don't know my place in the world. And right after that, Caroline's like, yeah, I got ADHD, Teeny. You're like, dude, shut up. Like,
I had a pretty fun moment in my living room watching that episode during that moment, because when she started and she was like, I have ADHD, I made like a joke out loud. I was like, yeah, me too. And then she started like going through this sob story, be like, I just feel like everyone thinks that I'm dumb, because I make these mistakes, and I just want to prove that I'm not an idiot. And I was like, me too.
like,
so she really won me over. She really won me over with that speech.
Sorry, for me, I saw that and I was too distracted to pay attention to the rest of what she said. So I left and went and made food. So I don't know. Whenever someone starts, hear me out. I definitely have ADHD. That's clear from this podcast. But whenever someone starts being like ADHD, I don't know, man.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Are you officially diagnosed, or are you just assuming?
Oh, dude. No, my wife has her license. My wife diagnosed me on
I
the
don't think that
couch in
counts.
my own home.
I don't think that counts.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I
I have
no, it
10
doesn't.
of 12 symptoms.
Well, I was on medication, so I
I
think
probably I
I'm the
should be
bigger victim
technically.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You
And
know what?
Kristen picked Rome, so like, do we really
Yeah,
take her
and she
We don't
medical
picked you
trust
as
her
a
advice?
judgment.
husband.
Fine, guys. Fine. I'm sorry. I was
Wow.
stolen valoring
Yeah,
ADHD.
dude. What's next? You're gonna claim to be Native American? All right, Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. I think my DNA test proved that my 0.5% Indigenous American means I'm right. So,
Yeah, and us getting to, I mean, this sidetracked in this ADHD conversation. It's just,
oh yeah, wait a
further
second.
proof.
Thank you, Chase. You just validated me. You're
Yeah.
so validating.
Well, I agree with Chase, where at first I was rolling my eyes, but then as she talked about it, I was like, okay, yeah, I feel you. I think
Y'all
she
are
did a
just
good
falling
job.
for her.
Well,
This is all a scheme.
I think this is the first time we've talked about Caroline in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe ever.
I think we tend to talk about interesting contestants, you know? That's I don't know why I'm coming for Caroline so bad. I don't know. She seems very nice. And
Yeah, I like her.
yeah, she does seem nice, but she just seems to be the brunt of my joke at this point. So,
That's fair.
And
But yeah.
she did make a good move by taking out Gabe and deciding to split with him instead of going Tuku strong or whatever. But the
Yep.
next scene we had Andy, Rachel, and Teeny at the water well talking about how they're gonna run the game now, and then Sue and Caroline come up, I guess right after their conversation, and they're like, "All right, we've got our final 5. We're gonna take out the big threats with this group."
Yeah,
which is
an interesting group.
fascinating. Yeah.
I will.
And
Say,
which early on in the season we talked about the fact that this whole group,
yeah,
the votes have been all over the place, unexpected, because they don't seem to care about who is strong
yeah,
or who is who even early on was going to help them win challenges as groups. They did not care. They all seem to only be focused on
big threats.
like who can I eliminate later,
Yeah.
and who's a strong player that I don't want here to be a second longer.
And I think that has left us with this kind of, like, we're getting closer to end game, and we have pretty much all of the players that would have usually been gone pre-merge.
100%. Yeah.
I think it's
Like,
pretty par for the course in the new era.
Maybe.
I kind of agree. Like, I feel like players like Caroline and Sam and Sue and Andy and even Genevieve to an extent, Rachel as well. I think all of them are players that typically are very middle of the pack, and they don't
Yeah.
make it this far.
Yeah. I think so too. Gabe is definitely a player that I think makes sense that he would make it this far.
Yeah, I agree.
He just
Same
has
with
like
Kyle.
Kyle as well. Although Kyle, even at the beginning, you know, first of all, again, I'm going to state the fact that y'all made fun of me for picking Kyle.
This again. Do we every time we
saying-
mention Kyle, we got to go through the obligatory Jonathan like y'all
Yeah,
made
because
fun
I'm
of
gonna
me.
I'm gonna run a lap. You made fun of me
If
for my
anyone-
ADHD and for Kyle.
If
And so,
if anyone has the right to be like to shake their finger at us, it's PD with the Andy pick.
Oh, and I did. And I got it out of my
Yeah,
system for the most part.
no, but see, it's not out of my system because this week reignited my anger for the hatred towards Kyle, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But
so,
I'm just saying, Kyle, he's just. I think that he might have been gone earlier in previous Survivor seasons because his personality didn't really show up until a little bit later, and I think he would have been voted out earlier if it was not how it is now.
yeah, that's true. So I was talking about the 5 underdogs. Well, they're not really underdogs anymore. They're the 5 overdogs. And talking about getting out the big threats. But then we cut to the 3 big threats, talking about how they're worried about the other 5. And Genevieve has another confessional where she talks about her struggle to make connections with people because apparently the words of Kishan are still just like ringing in her head. that he
Yeah.
said, like, Genevieve, I trusted you. And she said, I would rather be a villain that people didn't connect with than the best friend who killed their dream. And it's kind of ruining her game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad that they went all the way back to the most main character energy quote of the season, which is Genevieve, I trusted you. I'm like, dude, like this is Survivor, so I don't know what you expected. Genevieve needs to pick it up and just keep on trucking, dude. I need her to make it to the final three more than anything in this world right now.
I thought she was going to be going home this episode.
Me
And
too.
honestly, if she
Yeah.
doesn't go home next week, I don't think she's making it to final three. I think she's going to be gone pretty soon. She's seen as a huge threat, even though
Yep.
she hasn't done anything really impressive. Other
Well, I
than
think the 2 votes that she orchestrated were pretty impressive.
Oh yeah,
Well,
people are
yeah.
realizing how much behind the scenes stuff she's doing. She needs to get more personal with people and make them like her on a personal level.
Yes.
Like that's what she needs to do more than anything right now if she wants to stay.
I mean, maybe if she had been able to watch the entire season of 46, she would have seen that that's what Kinsey did. That is the entire reason Kinsey won, and her strategy was just throw that aspect of the game out the window.
Yep. Yeah. I do worry that if Genevieve makes it to the end, that really having 2 votes that you orchestrated, but no, she doesn't have any immunity wins, right?
Yeah, or
No.
friends.
Or friends. And I just think that she's not going to win because if she makes it to the final 3, even against like Andy and Sue, I feel like Andy has a better sob story and connection
Yeah.
where he's like, here are the things I overcame to get here and all that. I think Sue would be a no vote. Genevieve would get like 2 and Andy would win. So if I think Andy can beat her, then I think pretty much everybody else can, except maybe Sue. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Andy would be really good at articulating his case at Final Tribal, and I really hope he makes it for that reason, even though at this point, I don't think Andy's going to win, but I'm holding out hope, you know?
yeah, he could be your Yam Yam, you know?
No, dude. And it's
There's no
it's-
replacement for
it's
Yam Yam.
spelled Yam Yam, pronounced Jam Jam, and just got to put that out there. And
Oh,
yeah.
I got mixed up. I thought it was the other way. I thought it was spelled Jam Jam
Wait.
and pronounced Yam Yam.
I'm pretty sure it's Yam Yam, pronounced Jam
Oh,
Jam.
dude, hold on. Now
Do we
I'm
need
gonna have
to
to
fact
look.
check this?
Yeah, let me look at this. I'm looking up Yam Yam. Yam Yam pulled up a band, Yam Yam Live at the Peach
How
2023.
about Yam Yam
I'll
Survivor?
save that for my watch later. Yam Yam.
Yeah. It's spelled with 2 Y's, but it's
All right, I nailed it.
pronounced Jam Jam.
Dang, I'm wrong.
He was one of
What
one.
a stud, man. You know, he was great. He was
Yeah,
great.
he was my first round pick. I had to take him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got Genevieve being depressed because nobody likes her, but that's by choice. And then out of nowhere, here comes a boat, and you know what that means? It's journey time. And they couldn't decide on who would go, so they drew rocks. And what do you know? Rachel gets the rock, the luckiest player of all time. Chase, why don't you tell us about how this journey went for your player, your last player?
Yeah, dude. So Rachel, I do want to start off when because you said the luckiest Survivor player. The amount of times that Rachel has gotten lucky this season has been so impressive that I feel like it has to be divine intervention for me to finally win a Survivor draft. Like, she has been in the bottom of the barrel so many times and then miraculously gets saved. And now she gets the opportunity to go on this journey. And on the journey, she does one of the most entertaining puzzles I've ever
It was
seen on
phenomenal.
Survivor.
The design team for this one, whoever
Yeah.
designed this puzzle idea, is so good.
Basically, the way that the puzzle works is the puzzle's connected to a bunch of like rope, which is tied to weights. And as the weights sink, it will pull the table that she is doing the puzzle on into the ocean. And so she doesn't know how much time she has, but she has a finite amount of time to finish this puzzle before it just gets yanked into the ocean. She pulls it off, and so that means that she does not lose her vote. and she gets an advantage, which is a steal a vote.
A block a vote,
And then-
I think.
Yeah, it's block someone's vote.
Oh, okay. Block a vote. And basically, she can use it. The last time that she can use it is when there's 6 players left in the game. So she could have either used it this episode, and then, but she has a couple
Is it
more.
2
that she
more
can-
episodes
yeah,
or whatever?
2 more.
Yeah.
So she's got another advantage in her pocket now. She has a block a vote and an immunity idol.
It's crazy. One question about this is I do wonder how they retrieved the puzzle after it sank to the bottom of the sea. But because I was looking to see if it was tethered another way, and I just watched it go right off the side and go right down into the sea, weighted by 3 heavy weights. So I would hate to be on that team. But anyway, she did get it right in the nick of time. Like,
Yeah.
she barely won that puzzle.
Or was it edited
Or the
that
edit
way?
made it look
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Could have been.
That's what I think.
The
But
edit
either way,
loves doing that.
yeah, either way, they made it look awesome, and I think it's safe to say this is the greatest journey of all time.
Yeah, this was dope.
It was good. Yeah. I don't know about the greatest.
Well, they
I'd have to
usually
look
suck.
at some of their archives, but
'Cause
this
usually
one was a real.
it's like a sand timer, and it's just like do a puzzle and there's
Yeah.
a sand timer. This one was like, hey, do the puzzle or we're gonna yank it into the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some really good stakes.
It was. We'll say this. It was the best timer of all time on a journey. How about that?
Okay,
meet
go
in the
watch
middle.
all the stupid journeys from the new
I
era,
don't want to
and then
watch
you
all
tell
the
me
journeys. They
if
all
they were.
suck, PD.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this
You
is
know
the
what? Never
only
mind.
one.
You're right. I just said it out loud. It's the only one I'll remember.
Yeah, so if they could do more yanking stuff into the abyss, then I think
Yeah.
keep doing more journeys, and we'd all be for it.
Okay, yeah. So we're all big fans of this timer system
Yeah.
and journey. Then
Yeah.
it's what we're establishing.
I mean, the puzzle itself, it wasn't that interesting. It was just like, color coordinate all these balls. But it was the mechanism of like, hey, like this rope is like, it's really loud and you're constantly aware of it. And it's going to just deck this thing into the ocean. So that was awesome.
She
then-
also had to start the timer, which we have. I mean, she had to pick up the weight and throw it in the ocean and
Yeah.
then run back to the table. That was kind of fun.
So A+ from the Survivor challenge team or whoever came up with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Tyler Perry, because Jeff said that he does take Tyler Perry's calls, and Tyler Perry will suggest stuff for Survivor.
Wait, is that real? I missed
That's
that.
real. That was on Fire at some point. I heard that.
Huh. He's like, I need more contestants dressed as elderly women. And we're like, that's more of a Medea thing,
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. Yeah.
I want to see Medea on Survivor. No
Medea
breaking
goes to-
character.
That'd be a first episode boot.
Medea Goes to Fiji is that movie.
Okay,
I want to see her
Rachel,
reaction to Soul. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so Rachel, she gets back and then she explains beat for beat what happened, except she lies about the end result. And she said, I cannot participate in the next tribal, but Sam was not buying it. And I think Sam was right to not buy it because it just seemed ridiculous, like the concept of the challenge, because you hadn't seen anything like that in Survivor before. So somebody telling you about that, you'd be like, no, you just made all that up.
I told Kristen as we're watching that I think I would have played that differently. I would have said that I won an idol and would have shown the idol that I had already found. Because then at that point, it's kind of like people, I don't know if people would buy it, but at least it's something semi-believable. Because if I showed like, yeah, I did this challenge, make up something to be like, I had to go hunt for this, and it ends up it's an immunity idol.
I don't know.
Play it to where people know you have it.
Yeah,
It's
I
in your back
wouldn't,
pocket.
I wouldn't let
You could
anybody
be
know
immune.
I had it.
No, I think
But-
that's
She's
a
done
horrible
such a
idea.
good job of
Whoa,
you
whoa,
suck,
look,
dude. You
look, guys,
suck so bad.
Why am I even on here right now?
That's what we're
that's,
asking.
That's what I made fun of for my ADHD, like Caroline, and have that bonding now.
We
And
have it
now-
too.
Your
Oh.
wife diagnosed you. You want to know who diagnosed me? A doctor.
Yeah, a back alley doctor,
Yeah.
probably.
You want to know who
Big
diagnosed
pharma.
PD? Some guy on VR chat.
He was in a furry suit, but it was like a furry doctor suit. It looked legit.
I hate to tell you,
He
PD, but
had a
that was me.
stethoscope.
Yeah. He
And
had
he
one of those
prescribed him
Dr. Light
Adderall over
reflectors on
VR.
his head, you know?
I want to let's highlight why Jonathan's idea is bad. So
Yeah, okay, fine. Tear me to shreds, boys.
because the idol is so much more important to conceal than the block a vote.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'll admit I'm wrong on that because the block a vote is not that insane.
No, it's
So,
not nearly as powerful as the idol.
that's a miscalculation on my part. I'll own it. I'll apologize. I'll own my mistakes. I'll write an apology and post it on my Instagram.
Yeah, we'll see if you get to it
Okay.
with your ADHD.
Yeah.
All right. So Rachel, like Sam wasn't buying it, but then Rachel tells all of her allies that she got the advantage. And apparently, if you tell Sue that you have anything, she will die for you.
Yep. She was like, she's not so bad. I'll go to the end with her for sure.
She really did. She really did have like a film noir moment where she was like, I really respected the last time someone said that they had an advantage. So the fact that you came up to me and told me that you had an advantage, that means a lot to me. We have a bond like no other. I will die for you.
Here, cut your hand and I'm going to cut mine and we'll shake hands.
Hey, now hand me some of that mud and help me do my makeup before tribal.
It's called negotiation, Sweaty. Get used to it.
I really need Sue to do that accent now. But the next thing in the show is that Genevieve, she tries pitching to Rachel, like, hey, let's get rid of these goats that we're just dragging along, like Sue and Andy. But Rachel, she's just like, okay, yeah, but she wasn't interested. And then she tells Andy about it, and Andy was really upset. He's like, mad about not getting the respect that he deserves. And he went as far as to call Genevieve a snake in the grass. A Canadian snake in the grass is what Genevieve is, apparently.
He did say that. And you know what? I don't like it very much, Andy. I think that he goes after my girl Genevieve, and he's pretty much dead to me. He's like my Kyle to my Sue. That's what it is.
Wait, so Andy calls Genevieve a snake in the grass in response to being called a goat that's getting dragged to the end.
We don't want to talk about that side of it here, PV. The snake in the grass is all I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the first name calling. He said, she said, what is it really?
Okay, so this is like when a football player throws a punch, but then the second football player who threw a punch back gets the 15-yard penalty.
Right.
Yeah, as it should be. Anyway, let's move on.
All right. So we go to the challenge, and we're at the beach for the challenge, and Jeff decides to check in on how everybody's doing on day 20, and we get some motivational speeches from Kyle, and we got Sue. She started crying in response to Kyle's speech, and then Sue gives a little speech about how proud she is of herself, and then Andy's like, hey, remember, I had a breakdown. I had a mental breakdown out here. That was crazy.
I know that I was just against Andy, but Andy did give a really articulate speech when it was his time. Yeah. He gave a really beautiful, like, well-worded recap of his experience.
I was thinking, why bring attention to your meltdown? That was totally self-inflicted.
He's probably going to use it as, if he can make it to the final three, he'll use it as his selling point of what he did to get to where he is. And I'm gonna be real, I've been making fun of Andy since episode 1. If he won this game, he would probably be the wildest winner, like one of the most memorable wins ever.
Yeah, if Andy won the game at this point, I would be upset that I lost. Like, hear me out. I'd be upset I lost, but I would also be so wildly impressed that he pulled it off that I couldn't be but so mad about it,
Yeah. I just, what are you doing, Chase?
Yeah, what are you doing, Chase?
I'm searching for a reason to, hey, man, we got to focus, guys. We got to.
Yeah. So Chase is putting up a magnifying glass, and then Jonathan is showing off his baby monitor. And here, I have a liter of water. I'll put something up.
Oh, shoot, dude. It's great value,
alkaline
too.
water, dog?
Yeah. I don't know. I was like, what's cheap? And then I bought that.
That's not from Fiji.
Yeah.
Nope.
That would not be glistening on anybody.
There is a random quote from this podcast that stuck with me where Chase was like, I would beat up Rome and he would be sleeping with the fishes and I'd buy a Fiji water and a little Rome would be in there.
Did I say that?
You did say that. You don't
No
remember
way.
saying? I will pull the clip and I will play it right here.
I'll go back and find it because that's a really good joke. I don't remember saying that.
I don't remember you saying it either because I tune you out so often, but it's pretty good in post.
Yeah, Chase, he has his moments.
Whatever.
Yeah. I thought Chase wasn't very funny, if I'm being honest. I'd heard that before, but, we'll be fine on the podcast.
Chase just got up and left.
He did. He got up and left. I think I offended him because I didn't remember his one good joke this season.
Yeah. Do we just continue or do we figure out what's going on with Chase? I heard a dog barking and then Chase I wonder if it's related.
I don't know. How crazy would it be if the dog was barking and we witnessed a home invasion via remote podcasting? That would be crazy.
There was a home invasion while we were live podcasting. It was Rome. I beat him up.
Oh, man. If I buy a 6-pack of Fiji water, is there going to be a little Rome in there?
Yeah, sorry. I was just putting the dog up. I heard all your insults still. I had my AirPods in, so,
Good.
Whatever.
Just how I wanted it. I was banking on it.
All right, so the challenge.
Yeah, so we just talked about the motivational speeches. Welcome to the ADHD Survivor podcast.
Hey, I've got a title for this week's episode.
Sorry, apparently I don't have it, PD, so you can't call it that.
The title for this week's episode should be Caroline has ADHD, parentheses, so do we.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. In all caps, Caroline has ADHD. So Jonathan, how about, we talked about the motivational speeches from the 3 different contestants. Why don't you take us through what actually happened in the challenge?
Guys, this one had me on the edge of my seat. It started off really slow, but this immunity challenge is one of those that looks very lame on paper, where you're like, oh, I'm balancing and stacking stuff. Like, what is this about? But then as the challenge kept going and people kept failing, I was in it. So, this week they had the whole platform. It's attached to a rope. They have to balance and spell the word immunity, stacking it gradually and stepping back with that rope, keeping a platform nice and level. And then they have to make it all the way back to pick up another letter and walk it all the way back up to that thing they're balancing. It's hard to explain things on podcasts, guys. Like, I'm trying to explain advanced machinery here.
This is a pretty famous Survivor challenge. We've
seen
this
it's
one
been
quite
around.
Often. Yeah,
like I saw it and I was like, oh, interesting. They're doing this challenge again. But a couple of observations. I do want to state one for Kristen, which was she swears that Andy was spelling the word upside down the wrong way at the beginning.
Oh, well, I think that they did that on purpose so that they could then set it the right way at the end, because you have to start with Y.
No. He started with I, is what she was saying.
Oh, really?
Because you are having the same conversation that I had with her right now, which is where she said Andy's spelling it upside down, and I was like, yeah, that's the point, Kristen. And she was just like, no. He's starting with the I. And so that may not be true. I haven't fact-checked that yet, but it's big news if it's true, guys.
Could you imagine if he spelled the entire word incorrectly and he actually completed the challenge? That would have been hilarious.
Which is also what I said to Kristen, and I said that would be the most Andy thing to happen.
Yeah, but only if he was humping while he was doing it.
Yeah, oh man. Maybe that's why he didn't win this challenge. He didn't thrust enough. It wasn't enough loin action going on. So yeah, basically they start stacking, and at one point it's like, oh, Rachel's gonna win this, and then Rachel's stuff fell, and then it was like Kyle's gonna win this. Oh man, it's Kyle and Genevieve. One of them's gonna win it. Genevieve's falls over, then Kyle's falls over. But at the end, it was a nail biter. I mean, Rachel and Kyle just neck and neck, and Kyle is flying Like, he is recouping so fast from failure. And Rachel just takes her time. Kyle is rushing back with that rope to get to that platform, and she just barely beats Kyle from his like speed run of this challenge, and she takes home the individual immunity. Like, what is happening with Rachel right now?
Yeah, it wasn't
Chase,
luck this
like,
time.
It
No,
wasn't.
she earned
She
it.
straight up did it.
I will say I did just fact check it, and Andy did not spell it backwards. He
That's
had it right from
Kristen's
the
problem.
jump.
I'm just the
Yeah.
messenger.
She just
Yeah,
hates
yeah.
Andy.
Wow,
That's what
Kristen.
it is.
That's what
She
it
thinks
is.
he's an idiot, you know? But yeah, so Kristen, you were wrong. I'm sorry to have fact checked you on a public podcast.
She
But
got fact checked by Saul.
yeah, that's true. Dang, maybe Kristen's on a bad run here. I don't know.
But you know who's on a good run? Rachel.
Yep.
Rachel, yeah, Rachel's on a good run. She has a lot in her pocket right now.
Yeah.
The way the edit is going, that's why, I mean, to me, it's either Andy or Rachel winning the game.
I agree.
I think it's Rachel, dude.
I
Like,
hope so.
she has enough to swing the next two votes in her favor if played right.
Yeah.
Like, if she's feeling really out and down on one, just play your idol.
Yeah.
If not that, and you want to influence it, stop somebody's vote that's going against the idea. Like, she really can. She has a lot that she can do right now, and winning that individual immunity just meant that it was one more vote that she didn't have to spend her idol on.
And it gives her another feather in her cap to be like get in the end game, be like, hey, not only did I win an immunity idol, I beat Kyle for an immunity or not immunity, an individual immunity challenge. So that's like,
and had a secret idol and had a secret advantage. Like,
And
all
got
at the same
secret
time.
idol, but literally behind everyone's back, like 2 feet away from them.
oh yeah, I
100%.
forgot about that.
she has fought hard ever since that one episode where it looked like she was going to be the one going home and Saul saved her. She has been prime athlete, like top of the game survivor player.
Which, once again, it all comes back to Saul, our biggest fan. If she wins this season, it is directly
because of
correlated
him.
to him doing that, which was the smartest play he could have done. Like, it was just such a good play.
They would have voted her out. They all said that. And that's why there was that like insane scramble that happened once that she was like eliminated from consideration for the vote, because they didn't know what they were going to do, because they didn't plan on doing anything else but voting her out.
Right. And acting is a little bit of a segue here. Rachel winning the immunity idol had a direct result on who went home this week, because this was the first time in a long time where Kyle did not have individual immunity.
No, but Sam and Genevieve tried. They were like, they floated Andy to Teeny, and then Teeny said, this is like the funniest quote of the episode to me. Teeny said, "No, please don't do that. I would really appreciate it if you did not do that."
So there were 2 times where Kristen and I were trying to remember who the contestants left were, and I forgot every single time 2 players, Andy and Teeny. They mean nothing to me watching this.
What?
But the thing is that
Teeny can win too.
Kristen thinks Teeny can win, but I've said Teeny has done nothing to win this season of Survivor.
I agree
except
with that.
exist.
I do agree.
She has existed, and then when it comes to votes, she's saying things like that, where she is like, hey, please don't do that. I would really appreciate it if you don't vote that way. I'm like, Teeny, play the freaking game.
But it worked, though.
Yeah, but did it? Like, or were they just like, that was freaking weird? You know, like,
I mean, you're
the
at
fact
least
that-
supposed to lead people on in Survivor.
yeah.
She goes, hey, I'm not doing that. And also, I would really appreciate it if you didn't do that. And they didn't.
I'm like, what does she have? Good manners? Like, what's with that?
Did she say it with like a cigarette in her mouth?
Yeah.
No, that's more of Sue's thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, it did directly affect who went home this week. I felt terrible this whole episode, guys. I'll tell
bet
you right now.
Because Kyle was the easy vote, but it was the 2 choices were both Team Jonathan, which I said last week. I was like, it's either Kyle or Genevieve. And then Andy was pushing for a Genevieve. He was going against the grain because he's doing all this math where he was like, Kyle only has a 6.2% chance at all the immunity challenges. Is basically a coin flip. So, like, I actually agree with Andy. I think maybe his math was off. I don't know, but I think Andy's pretty smart. Maybe his math was right on. Caroline didn't seem to think so, but I agree with Andy that Kyle was a one-dimensional player. Like Andy said, he was like, all he does is talk about his wife and his family, and he wins challenges, and that's it.
And Sue was like, I hate all of that. It was. I agree. I agree. Maybe it's the one thing that Andy and I have in common, because I started my draft doing the math, doing numbers, crunching numbers to see who would win. And maybe I relate to him in that way. But I think they made the wrong decision sending Kyle home. I agree.
Here's the thing about Kyle, guys. He gives it $1.20.
He does. Multiple times, in fact, he's given it $1.20.
He gives it $1.20.
He does do that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else y'all remember from the scramble before we get to tribal? Because I don't. I think that's it.
Well, I mean, what I remember more than anything is that Genevieve really is she's very uncomfortable with the whole scramble.
She just looks depressed.
And to me, that show. Yeah, she entered like a different mode that we haven't seen her in, which was just sad. And when she was sad, she didn't really fight, if that makes sense. Like, she just kind of like threw some stuff out there, but it didn't show her really putting like a lot of elbow grease into changing people's mind. Yeah. She just seemed to settle really easily into this idea of I might go home. I didn't like that because I think I think next week might be a problem for her if she doesn't win something.
Yeah, time to go to tribal, and it's time to brand new. It's time to brand new.
Can we brand new real quick?
All right, it's time to go to tribal, and it's time to debut a brand new segment. This is the Stupid Sexy Saul fashion statement of the week. So this time
we don't have a soundbite, so
maybe I'll put one in post. Saul.
Yeah.
Saul, he kept the vest this time. He has the vest on, but he changed what was around it. What did you guys think of Saul's outfit this week?
I think he knew it was too much for people to handle last week. So he thought, let me throw a shirt on under this because I can't be too much of a distraction with all of this. That's what my theory is.
Would you like to know my theory?
Yeah.
I don't think it was his decision. I think the producers asked him to change it up this week because it was such a visible distraction last week when he walked in and Teeny and everyone was like very visibly distracted by it. I think that they asked him to tone down his stupid sexiness.
You think so?
I don't know.
I'd love it if he commented and let us know.
I thought his outfit this week was equally distracting because he had the vest on, but he had like a white undershirt with a black and red pattern, bright yellow pants, and blue shoes. There's a lot going on.
Well, here's the thing, and I still think that aligns with my theory. I think that they asked him, like, hey, at least put a shirt on. And he was like, hey, I can't turn off my swag.
Yeah.
So I'll put a shirt on, but I'm still going to be dripped out, dog.
Yeah, I'm still going to be stupid and sexy. I love that
Saul he decided to bring back 2012 lingo for how he was addressing the producers there. My swag, anyway, Chase, I'm sorry. I'm going to be nice to you at some point in this podcast, but what I'm going to say is that I don't think Saul would use that lingo. I don't think he would use that lingo. If he's dressing this styled, I think that he's using current stuff.
Yeah, the vibe that Saul gave me last week, it was Indiana Jones. This week, it's British.
Ooh, yeah.
What? British?
I don't know. I just felt
like a very sweeping statement.
A British tour guide. That's what I thought.
Okay. That's definitely more specific. You went from an individual person and character to an entire entire country.
Look, this is vibes. Vibes don't always make sense.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I don't know. He was giving me like You know how you'll go to a wedding and there's always like one guest that shows up at the wedding that's dressed and you're just like, dang, like they get it. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
everyone else is wearing like khakis and like a sport coat, and then like one dude shows up and you're like, oh, like he goes places.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
he's
like
stupid and
the vibe I
sexy.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah.
Which
Like
leads us.
It leads us to Kyle's exit.
Yeah,
yeah,
We can. I mean,
yeah,
I don't. I kind of
devastating.
like when Jeff is asking the questions and all that. I do want to say that the past 2 seasons, the tribal councils have been so much better because they actually talk about what's going on. It would drive me insane. I remember this one specific time that Heidi on season 44, she was like, it's like you got plan A, and then somebody's like, well, what if we don't do plan A? What if we do plan B? And then somebody comes up and says, hey, what if we do plan C? And it's like, hey, you didn't say anything just now. You said literally nothing.
You just said there's options that we
Yeah.
might do.
But this time
Yeah,
Kyle's
they
actually like making his case for why he should stay and stuff, and then Genevieve is too. And it's like it's actually interesting what they say now.
yeah. Which I'm gonna be honest, like I was rooting for Genevieve to go home, obviously, because I don't want a Banu tattoo on my body.
yeah.
But even more so, when Kyle got voted out, and he went to each individual person and hugged them, including Sue,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then gave a motivational speech to them about giving a $1.20.
Well, Chase, how about we get to the final Kyle quote of the week?
Let's hear it, man.
Kyle said, all right, line them up, let's knock them down. Thank you for each and every one of you, for the kind words you had to say for me and my family. Every one of you are beautiful and have a wonderful story. Thank you so much for this experience. Thank you so much for your friendship. Good game, you guys. If you have a family and you're out there, give it a $1.20. We do 100% for ourselves, but when it comes to our family, we give 120% into everything we do.
Dang, dude, he's such a beautiful speaker.
Yeah,
He
that
really-
was
He made me tear up. Like I was
He-
so sad to
me
see him
too.
go.
I did too. I didn't want to admit that, but since you two did it first.
yeah. I mean,
I
I
usually-
texted Chase immediately. I said he's making me cry.
Yeah. I usually, by the time it gets to the actual vote, unless it's one of my players and I have a lot of stakes involved, I usually don't really care when a player leaves at that point. But I really didn't want him to go.
Yeah, they made a mistake sending him home for several reasons. One, because I do think that Genevieve is going to be is a more problematic player in the long run. But also, like, man, he just was such a positive person to have at the camp, right? Like, it's just, I was really sad to see him leave. I was upset, and as much as I want Chase to get a tattoo of Banu on his body, I want to drive down there so bad and see it happen. I still wish it had been Genevieve going home this week.
Yeah,
I'll say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for the multiple
Yeah.
viral hits you gave us on TikTok. We will appreciate that forever. And then saying the final Kyle quote of the week, like that alone made me
Oh.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, not to move on too quickly, but since we're talking about Kyle being eliminated, I want to do a quick, just kind of a recap to what everyone's team is looking like right now, for the people keeping up at home. So
All right.
Jonathan, starting with Jonathan, since he did lose Kyle this week, Jonathan
Yeah.
started off with Genevieve, Sierra, Kyle, and Annika. He only has Genevieve left,
That's it.
and we still have how many weeks, PD?
We have 4. I think we're at the final 7, and then the finale.
But when do we
is 2
get to my
episodes.
finale, which is just 3 players left? Is that the same finale? Yeah, that's the same finale.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I care about at this point. I don't think she's winning, but I want a tattoo to go on Chase's body. That is my trophy.
PD started off with Asia, Gabe, Sue, and Andy. He has lost Asia and Gabe, but he still has Sue and Andy.
It's that dynamic duo.
The most out of pocket of the selection that you had there, PD, are
Yeah.
the ones
Yeah.
still here.
Yeah. Kristen, and Kristen does this every season.
It's infuriating.
Kristen started off with Sam, Teeny, Caroline, and Rome. The only player that she has lost is Rome. She is going in 3 strong once again into the final 6.
Do you know how hard it is living in the house with the person that's doing that to you? It's terrible. It's awful. Because when we finish the episodes, it's not like I get to put my phone down and ignore you guys. It's like I look over on the side of the couch and Kristen's just like, looks like I'm have my players still. That's what I get.
And then I started off with Saul, Tiana, Rachel, and Kishan. And I, too, only have 1 player left. I've been rocking with 1 player for several weeks now.
Dude, Chase, this is almost exactly what happened to us last season.
Yeah. No, this happens to me.
We both went in with only 1.
Yeah. You went in with Jake, and I
No,
have
I went
yet
in with
to even.
Ben.
Oh, yeah, Ben. I have yet to get a player in the final 3.
Except for the 1 year where before we did the expansion, where
Yeah,
you
it was
had
just me and
2.
you.
Yeah, so the first year of the draft, it was just me and Chase, and the final 3.
And I still lost.
Yeah, Chase had Heidi, and he had Carolyn, and I had Yam Yam, or Jam Jam, excuse me, I can't
Yeah, I
get that wrong.
still lost.
We've gotten all mixed up on him. Yeah. Chase, I don't know, man. I think that you're going to end up in the finale, though. I think
hope
Rachel
so.
will make it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, statistically, if we're just – because you said how many players we have left? 7?
Yeah, I think we have 7.
Yeah.
So, statistically, Kristen will have at least 1 player in the final.
I think
3.
she has to.
Yeah. There's just no way. She would have to lose the next 3 players in a row, and I just don't see that happening.
But I'd love to see it happen.
I would too.
Wouldn't we all love to see it happen?
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
I
she's
can't
at
live
least-
with a 2-time Survivor champion. Let me tell you.
Dude,
Yeah.
in a row, too.
Yeah.
In a row.
I know, I did that, and I can barely live with myself, so I get it.
But yeah, I just wanted to end this episode with a recap of where we are draft wise, because I think it's getting to where it's really fascinating. Because once it gets down to the final 6, it's really when it's like, oh, we can kind of see who might win this season.
Yeah, we can see the end. I was thinking that like when they were all on the beach in the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, we've really made it. Like this is the end
Yeah.
game.
This season, last season, I felt went really slow. Like I feel like we watched Survivor for like 4 months, but this
was the
season
chaos.
this season
Yeah.
I feel like is going really quick, and it's been a good season.
And it might be going really quick because we're doing a podcast and making clips, and it's like
That's true.
it's like we're thinking about Survivor all
lot.
the time and having to be
Yeah.
like, all right, well, we just watched this episode. Now we got to do this podcast in 2 days or however many. So it's just like boom, boom, boom.
That's true.
Guys,
That's true.
I do want to give you some news, though. This is good news. But it's because we get like marketing emails to our Making the Merge, right?
Oh yeah.
We get the classic marketing emails. That's not the good news. But the good news is someone hit us with some information on our rankings on charts right
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I fact checked them, and they seem accurate. And I feel like you both would be fascinated by this. I'm throwing a spin right now on the episode. I know
I have a couple
But-
sites I go to. I'd be interested to see where these numbers
this is
are coming from.
Pod Status is
Okay.
the company. It seems 27th in TV reviews on Australia's charts right now.
Oh.
29th TV reviews in Canada.
Okay.
50 in TV reviews in the U.S.
There we go.
50 in the TV reviews in South Africa.
I was about to say, where's
Number
South
81
Africa?
in Sweden. And we're not going to talk about the fact that just in the whole TV and film, we're like 209th in Australia
Whoa.
and 246 in Canada TV and film categories.
Whoa.
So we're killing in TV reviews right now.
Yeah.
And we're almost in the top 200 in Australia for TV and film.
Dude, that's
So-
crazy. And it's all thanks to stupid, sexy Saul.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And
Thanks for asking if he was oiled up, Kristen.
It's also like partially thanks to Kyle for
Yeah.
the Kyle quote of the week segment. I really didn't think it would be as big as it was online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also owe a lot to Rome and Andy and his hip thrusting.
I mean, Rome kickstarted
Yep.
this whole thing, and it's like Rome made us realize, like, oh, we've got something with this podcast.
Rome was what made us realize maybe TikTok works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we've focused all of our memes on Sue.
Yeah.
At least this week.
Yeah.
And one more thing I want to say about Sue is that she wrote Tweedledee on her vote. Did you see that?
She hates Kyle so much, and it makes me hate her.
And then she had the audacity while he's hugging her to be like, love you, Kyle, and like give him like, oh, Kyle, we're so sad to see you go. And I can already see it. Next week they're going to do a talking head of Sue, and she'd be like, I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so angry at her for the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, what was she going to do? Is she going to whisper in his ear like, F you, I effing hate you. I'm so glad that you're going to be on the jury.
If she was a real one, she would have.
But I think that shows she's not a real one.
Yeah.
I think Sue's a faker. That's
Guys,
what I think.
I think y'all missed this, and this is crucial. This is like, this is like earth-shattering information if you told Sue. But hey, Sue, you are not Tweedledee. You are Tweedledum. There's no way in that situation that Caroline is Tweedledum or
Yeah. Yeah, but they're both near 45 years old, so it's a toss.
If Sue is 45, Caroline is 8 years old.
Listen, a character like Sue, and this should probably be the last thing before we end it.
This is a real person.
Yeah. A fake human being like Sue.
Yeah.
She's the type of person that makes me wish that we still did the live reunion things, because there was one season with PD, remind me, who was it where Jeff like pulled out a lie detector test on?
I don't know.
Whoa.
Was it Philip? There was a guy who
It
claimed
wasn't
he was like
Philip.
It was a guy he claimed, it might have been an older season. He claimed he was like an FBI agent and all this stuff, and they lied. They like tried to get him to do a lie detector or whatever.
Oh, it was Philip. They tried and he wouldn't do it because he said he was like a special agent and all of this stuff.
Yeah. I want the live special for Jeff to just ask Sue, like, are you 45 years old?
I do miss the live, like, I miss that aspect of the show so bad.
It was
the way
usually
they do
my
it now
favorite
sucks.
part.
It does not deliver.
No, because
It doesn't deliver the same feeling.
they don't have 9 months to stew on their emotions. It's
Right.
just immediate.
And watch the show.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, instead of a live audience, what if we wheeled in a giant Survivor logo instead? That's what
and
they
pizza,
do instead.
And stale pizza and champagne.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, both of those together, pizza and champagne, that sounds disgusting.
That sounds pretty bad. I just miss seeing Jeff pick up the votes and walk out of Fiji and then walk into a crowd wearing the same clothes but less sweaty and dirty looking.
Yeah. And wearing makeup.
There's something magical about that.
And not mud makeup, like real makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those contours were like professionally done.
I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Sue's face was clean at Tribal. I was like, whoa, what happened?
It was, yeah.
Was it though?
Yes,
'Cause
it
I was looking.
Okay,
I was looking. There was still some left in the crevices.
No, we're not going to do the contrarian Jonathan thing here. It was.
Are we? I think we are going to do the
All
contrary.
right. Are we going to wrap this thing up now? Because I do have
I think so.
I have a good Jeff quote to end on.
Let's do it.
Yes, please.
It's I actually screen recorded this from his podcast. All right, here we go.
I wasn't a dog person until I became a dog person. And when I wasn't a dog person, if you told me your dog was sick, I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you want to hit some tennis balls?" I'm a dog person now. If you told me your dog was sick, I'd say, "I'm coming over. I've got a bunch of things I can help with." I feel that way about Survivor. You're either into Survivor or you're not. And if you're not into Survivor, you don't get this. But if you're into Survivor, you get it. And that's why you're into it.
I love Jeff.
Yo.
What is it?
Jeff's the best. Jeff's the best, dude.
Wait. So wait a second. He says, if someone's like, my dog is sick, his first reaction is, "Do you want to go hit some tennis balls?" Which sounds like more of the thing he would do to cheer up a dog.
Yeah. Famous dog activity: throwing tennis balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Man.
weirder, his reaction to in the first place, or the reaction where like now he'd be like, "Oh, dude, I'm coming over."
Yeah. I'd be like, hey, how about you don't come over when I'm trying to take care of my sick dog?
Chase, can you imagine if you texted the group and you walked up and my dog is sick and I was like, on my way.
I'm coming over right now because I used to
just got-
not care about dogs, but now I care about dogs.
And then I like
My
how
dogs now, Chase.
then
I
he-
hope they're okay.
he has the worst segue of all time. He's like, "And now I'm coming over because I got things that can help," and that's like Survivor. Oh,
Once
man,
he hit
let's end
that
the episode
segue,
there.
I backed it up and I started recording. I was like, the world needs to hear this. All right.
My side hurts. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard him say.
Oh man. Oh god.
I'm crying, guys. I'm crying because Kyle's gone, and I'm crying because Jeff loves dogs so much now.
Yeah.
I guess the Jeff quote of the week is back on the menu.
Yeah.
If it's that good, definitely. We gotta hear more like that for sure. With that, we're gonna end up in the top 200 in Canada. You watch me.
With the
Or us.
Canadian grass snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Well, guys, it was good.
Yep. All right, making the
Yeah.
merge out.
All right,
See ya.
bye.